Oh, hello again. I see you're back for another lesson. I suppose I can make time for you, as always. So, please tell me, what are you learning about now? Huh? What was that? This isn't about studying for a test. I'm a little surprised, to be honest. If that's the case, what is it? Oh, so what you're saying is you have a doctor's appointment and you want me to explain some of the common things that are done? Honestly, I don't think that's a bad topic to talk about. It's always good to have information like that since, let's be honest, most people don't always know things pertaining to health. Especially when it's really easy to get lost in all the information on the internet. There's a lot of misinformation going around that then leads people to believe things that aren't necessarily true or backed up by, research. Well, as always, you've come to the right place. Again, just to remind you, this is more so a brief overview of information. Because, if I tried to do a deep dive, we would probably be here for hours. I also want to preface that I'm not a doctor. I'm simply your favorite friend who is just very, very knowledgeable about a lot of things. So as a little disclaimer, you really should be asking a medical professional about anything specific. And as you may know, everyone's health is different, so things can look different case by case. And now with that out of the way, I guess we can begin. So, one of the first things that often happens when you have doctor visits is your vital signs getting taken. Vital signs generally consist of your temperature, your pulse, your blood pressure, your respiratory rate, and pulse ox, otherwise known as oxygen saturation. As you may know, temperature basically gives us the idea of how hot or cold something is. In this case, we're talking about our body temperature. If your body gets too hot, you can run a fever, which, depending on the case, can indicate something like a potential infection or something like heat stroke. On the flip side, when the body temperature gets too low, that can be an indication of hypothermia, which could be caused by, being out in the cold for too long without proper measures to keep warm. Of course, there are many other things that can affect our body temperatures. Again, this is meant to be brief. Moving on to the pulse, which is basically the number of heartbeats per minute. As a rule of thumb, for most adults, a normal pulse is around 60 to 100 beats per minute, but please do understand there can be exceptions to this rule. There are many things that can affect our pulse, such as stress, anxiety, exercise, dehydration, caffeine, infections. The list could go on, really. You may notice that, when we're stressed or having an anxiety attack, our heart rate can increase, so you may feel like your heart's racing. Exercise can do this too. Anywho, I want to move on, so let's talk about blood pressure. Blood pressure is the measurement of force of blood against the walls of the arteries. So with blood pressure, there are two numbers. There's the number on top, which is called systolic pressure, which measures the pressure in your arteries when your heart beats and pushes the blood out to your body. The bottom number is called the diastolic pressure, which measures the pressure in your arteries when your heart rests between the beats. You might see many sources saying a normal blood pressure is around 120/60. Anyways, blood pressure is important because it can tell us how hard your heart is working. High blood pressure can be dangerous long term due to the strain it puts on the heart and can lead to serious issues that can be life-threatening. So, if you find yourself having high blood pressure, this may be time to talk to your doctor about medications and such potential lifestyle changes as well. On the flip side, low blood pressure can also be a cause for concern, as it can mean that your organs may not be getting enough blood and oxygen. This can lead to someone feeling faint, dizzy, and fatigued. So, yeah, high or low blood pressure is not exactly a good thing. And overall, as you can see, vital signs can really tell us a lot about our body's health. Now we move on to respiratory rate, which is basically how many breaths you take per minute. This is important as it can tell us if someone seems out of breath or if they don't seem to be getting enough oxygen. Many different things can affect our respiratory rate, such as asthma, heart diseases, and anxiety, to name a few. Since we're talking about respiratory rates, I think this is also a good time to talk about the pulse ox, otherwise known as oxygen saturation, which is the percentage of oxygen in the blood. This is measured with the same finger probe often used to measure your pulse. Pulse ox readings of 95 to 100 are considered normal, while readings under 90% can be considered low. A low pulse ox reading can indicate that an individual is not getting enough oxygen and can call for the need of supplemental oxygen. But of course, when there is a low reading, it is very crucial to find out the cause in order to put the right treatment in place. Well then, I think that was a decent amount of information to give. But as I said earlier, vital signs really do give us important information about our body. It won't give us all the answers since more testing may be needed, but it's a good starting place, which is why they're always done whenever you visit the doctor. Also, it's important to know that you can take your own vitals at home as long as you have the right equipment. There are many cost-effective options out there for anyone interested. What else can I talk about? A full assessment would take too long to explain, and a lot of that can be pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, I must rather leave those explanations to the experts. I guess we could talk a little bit about blood tests, but there's so many of those. I guess I could give you a quick little overview. It'll be with little to no effort, as blood tests can go a bit more in depth with things. Honestly, it feels like there's a blood test for almost anything. Well, with blood tests, there's the one called a complete blood count, otherwise known as a CBC, and that tells us the levels of different types of blood cells in our body, such as red blood cells, which aid in transporting oxygen and nutrients to the body, white blood cells, which help fight off infections, and platelets, which help our blood clot. Yeah, somewhere there's way more that I didn't go into, but I'm lazy. Blood tests can even tell us how well our organs are functioning. For example, the liver, kidney, thyroid, and heart, to name a few. And of course, there are other blood tests that can tell us the levels of different minerals, vitamins, and electrolytes, such as sodium, potassium, calcium. List can go on, honestly. And depending on the results, your doctor could recommend diet changes and maybe adding some supplements. As I said, this is little to no effort. If I went through all the other blood tests, we'd be here for so long. Okay. I'm tired. Can that be enough for today? Please? Really? Yay. I am free once again. Thank you so much. Now, I demand my reward for all this information. You know how it goes. Anytime I talk about something and use my knowledge, I always want something in return. And today, I demand yummy chocolate ice cream. So you will take me out to the nearest ice cream shop. My sweet tooth needs it. Come on already. What are you waiting for? Let's just go.